It's another game. It's another Metro Division showdown, and the Carolina Hurricanes decide to take Manhattan.
You're Locked On Hurricanes, your daily podcast on the Carolina Hurricanes. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome to a Monday edition of Locked On Hurricanes, your team every day, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Thank you to the Everydayer for making this your first listen of the day. 5 days a week, Monday through Friday, talking everything about your Carolina Hurricanes. I'm your host, Zach Martin. I'm the credentialed Carolina Hurricanes beat writer over at the Hockey Hours, also the co-host of the Searchcast, which is a weekly Carolina Hurricanes podcast, along with all my duties here at Locked On Hurricanes. Got a fun Monday show for you guys as we get to recap the Hurricanes' 3-1 win over the New York Rangers after Sunday's afternoon matinee game. Also talk about the game that was Pyotr Kochetkov and hear from him post-game with his post-game press conference. And then we're also going to preview the Hurricanes at the Nashville Predators as they play on Monday night for a back-to-back. But before we jump into all of that, you can start the season with a big return on FanDuel. New customers can place a $5 bet. You'll get started with $250 in bonus bets if you win your first $5 bet. Visit FanDuel.com to get started. Now, like I said, the Carolina Hurricanes went into New York on Sunday afternoon for a 12:30 matinee game for a showdown against the New York Rangers. Last time these two teams met was back on November 27th, where the Hurricanes came back and won that game 4-3 with that comeback victory. This is the second game of a four-game season series, which will also be played on January 28th back in New York once again, and then on April 12th in Carolina for a 3 p.m. start. And early on, it looked like it was going to be one of those games where the Hurricanes were going to have to play catch-up as Jimmy Vesey scored a goal 17 seconds into the game, and that was pretty much the only goal of the period. Of course, nothing you really did for Pyotr Kochetkov. It's just one of those random things where you hate to give up early goals and also late goals as well, but it's one of the things where it just happens, unfortunately. And, the Hurricanes, outside of that one goal they gave up to the Rangers, they basically held them to 5 shots, but of course the Rangers also hit Carolina at 6. Then we saw an explosion of shots in the second period from the Carolina Hurricanes. They had 16 of their 31 in the middle frame, holding the Rangers to 8. And in that process, how about they scored 2 goals? William Carey on his 4th of the season, getting it at 9-14. Love to see some depth scoring from William Carey, especially, given the opportunity that he had. And then on the power play, Jack Roslovic, after getting high sticked earlier in the game, lost some teeth in the process, comes back and gets a massive goal for the Hurricanes, 14-32 win to get the team up 2-1. And in the process, gives them 1 for 5 on the power play, which is, it was like, hey, you know what? It doesn't matter. You get the opportunities, took advantage of it. Yes, it's 1 of 5, but hey, as I said, special teams is always a big thing, especially in Metro games when it comes against the Rangers or just games in general, really, and they were able to capitalize when they did. And also, speaking of that, how about the Hurricanes penalty kill going 4 for 4 and shutting down the Rangers? Can't go wrong with that, being able to score on your chances and holding the other team off on theirs as well. And the funny thing is, Pyotr Kochetkov got one of his 2 assists in that game and start on the power play with this one, where just a nice little touch pass dump off to Dmitry Orlov. Orlov streaks the zone and finds Roslovic back door. And then in the third period with 18-18 with the empty netter, just being able to find a way to ice the game for the Hurricanes, get his 10th of the season with Andrei Svechnikov getting his 14th assist. And, oh, by the way, Pyotr Kochetkov playing the puck from behind the net, wraps it around to Svech, who found Aho in the Rangers zone and was able just to bury it in. And there is your second point from him, both assists, and that is your 3-1 victory. Overall, the Hurricanes outshot the Rangers 31-23, and now their record is 21-11-1. And what a great number sequence, honestly, just for the fact you got 21, 11, and 1 within that span, which, it's just a perfect number sequence, honestly, if you really look at it. But overall, like, talk about a game where it's, yeah, you're down early. It's 17 seconds, and you really don't, like, you hate to see that, and, you're already having to play from behind early, and while it's not great, at least you still have rest of the game to kind of get back in it, and, you do outshoot the Rangers 6-5. It's a situation where it could be not necessarily worse, but it's not not the greatest start you want to have against a team like the Rangers, who are pretty much close to 500 going into the game. They were 16-5-1. You were kind of being like, well, they're on a really bad run as of late. You're kind of you're in the top 3 of the Metro. Well, I'm not saying it's easy to walk into Madison Square Garden and take care of business like that. It's because you still have a team that has Kreider, Panarin, Zibanejad, Fox, Shesterkin's in net. It's not like the Rangers are going to be one of the most easiest teams to roll over, especially regardless of their record. It's still the New York Rangers with some firepower. So the Hurricanes going to come back against the Rangers, back in November. So it's not going to be easy regardless. But for the fact that, yes, you're down 1-0 after 1, you outshot the Rangers 6-5. Of course, it's not a lot of opportunities, but you're still out shooting them. And then throughout the game, you get two in the second period. You got Willem Carrier, you got Jack Roslovic. Roslovic, scoring goal against his former team that he was on for the playoffs last year, and being able to come back from after losing some teeth on a high stick, comes back, scores a power play goal, and gets the lead for you, and that's something that you'll take. And then Sebastian Aho ices it with an empty netter. You win 3-1, and your goaltender has a pretty fantastic game. Getting 2 assists in the process, and also how about Jordan Staal getting his 400th career assist, which you love to see from the captain. So you see a lot of milestones in this game. Like I said, we'll definitely listen. We'll talk a little bit more about Pyotr Kochetkov in the second segment. But overall, like, you go into New York, you take care of business, and as the Hurricanes admin team said, they're the Canes that stole Christmas, and they aren't sorry, which you should never be, honestly. But it's one of those games where it kind of is like, yeah, I could see where some frustration may be for fans when you are down early like that. But you also got to remember, too, you're talking there's another, over 19 minutes of hockey left. It's, it's not the greatest starts ever, but it's yes, the Hurricanes aren't playing the best of hockey as of late, especially since Utah, but you're still talking about a team who's, as of right now, well secured at 3rd place in the Metro. One of your top 5 in the Eastern Conference. You're easily top 10 in the entire NHL in terms of points. So it's one of those things where, yeah, they're not playing the greatest of hockey, but not a lot of teams are. I mean, the Winnipeg Jets have struggled. The Boston Bruins have definitely struggled this year. The Rangers are having in a season that a lot of people didn't think that they were going to be great at, or a lot of people thought the Rangers were going to be a lot better than they are. A lot of people thought Nashville was going to be a lot better than they are right now, and they are dead last in the league. And that they have UC Saros in that, so it's definitely one of those things where you come into the season, the expectations weren't super high. You have a really great start with that 5-1 road trip, but yeah, I mean, teams struggle all the time, and even not so great teams can beat good teams, and we've seen it across the league. I mean, the Predators at one point beat the Rangers twice in a span of a few days. And, while the offense has kind of been inconsistent, I would say the one thing that's not been inconsistent for the Carolina Hurricanes for the most part is Pyotr Kochetkov, honestly, just from the way he's been playing. How about for the fact he gave up 1 goal in this game, and he finished with a .957 save percentage, 22 of 23. I mean, what more can you really ask out of Pyotr Kochetkov, especially when you're looking at a season 2 for him where he's, I mean, he has a record right now of 14-6 with a 243 goals against and a 903 save percentage with the shutout. Oh, and he also has 3 points. Like, Pyotr Kochetkov is having a pretty good season. And you know what? We have to talk about him. We have to talk about him as a whole segment because from what he's been doing this year for the Hurricanes with Frederik Andersen out, and especially in this game where you come off that tough loss against the Capitals, you go to Madison Square Garden Sunday afternoon and take care of business to get the win. That definitely should be worthy of having your own segment. So stick around as we'll talk more about Pyotr Kochetkov, not just in this game, but his season overall. So stick around as we'll do that here in a second on a Monday edition of Locked On Hurricanes. If you love sports, you're going to love PrizePicks, the best place to turn your sports knowledge into real money. Whether it's hockey, football, or any of your favorite sports, PrizePicks makes it easy to get in on the action. You can now win up to 1,000 times your money on PrizePicks. Plus, this holiday season, they're giving away $30+ million in rewards during Picksmas and offering 2 free picks in December. And when you place your picks hit, PrizePicks makes it easy to cash out. You can get your money as fast as 15 minutes. Now, for me, I'm on the hockey board. I'm looking at Jack Hughes maybe getting more than 4 shots on goal. Maybe Seth Jarvis might get more than 2 points. Well, it's so simple to make my picks, and it's also easy to have fun with friends with potentially cashing out fast. So download the app today and use code LOCKEDONNHL to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. That's right, $50 instantly. You can do that at PrizePicks, where you can run your game. Welcome back to segment 2 of Locked On Hurricanes, your team every day. And like I said, we have to talk about Pyotr Kochetkov and the amazing game he had against the Rangers, and even the season that he's been having overall with Frederik Andersen now. Yes, you have a tough loss against the Capitals. I wouldn't say every game has been like lights out Pyotr Kochetkov, but you look at where he's not really giving up a whole lot of goals overall. It's not like he's getting shelled for 4, 5, 6 goals a game. It's not one of those things where it's, he's going in there and he's getting blown up for multiple goals and really bad save percentages, like in the low 800s or in the 700s. Because you look at over his last 5 games, going back to December 10th against the Sharks, 23 shots, gives up 2 goals, gets the win with a .913 save percentage. You play the Ottawa Senators. Yes, you lose 3-0, but you only give up 2 goals in that game on 21 shots. That's a .905 save percentage. Then 4 days later, he goes and shuts up the New York Islanders on a 32 save performance for a 1,000 save percentage. Then, yes, you play Washington. You face only 22 shots, but you give up 3 goals for an 864. And then, like I said, then against the Rangers, 23 shots, 1 goal allowed for 957. So, yeah, you look at his stats for overall this season, it's like, okay, it's 903. That's not the lowest of his career, of course. 902 was, now he's back in 3 games. But even last season, he was a 911 save percentage with a 233 goals against. You look back at the 22-23 season where he played in 24 games where he went 12-7-5. He had a 244 goals against and a 904 save percentage. Now, he's had 4 shutouts in the last 2 seasons. But you look at his goals against now, it's, 0.01 better than it was 2 seasons ago. And his save percentage is 0.006 less. But his record this season is 14-6-0 in 21 games. He's once again having to do the yeoman's work with Frederik Andersen being that guy. And it's one of those things where I can understand that there are some goals that you definitely want back, but every goalie in the NHL right now is giving up a lot of goals. Like, Igor Shesterkin hasn't been 100% Igor Shesterkin that was, the guy that everyone thought he was 2 seasons ago. Andre Vasilevsky's, struggled as of late. UC Staros isn't having the greatest season right now, and that's on a very bad Predators team. Thatcher Demko can't stay healthy, and they have Kevin Lankinen now being their main goalie in Vancouver, but, Demko's back. I mean, Toronto struggled. Look what was going on with Colorado. They've literally changed their entire tandem. But we're not even in 2025, and they've got running both of their starting goalies, like I said, before we're even by Christmas. It's and Pittsburgh struggling once again with Jari, and they gave him his extension. Yes, I could sit here and say yes, there are maybe some goals that Pyotr Kochetkov would love back, but it's also Pyotr Kochetkov has been playing really well for the Hurricanes, and I think this game shows it too, where he pretty much, outside of scoring a goal and fighting someone, he had a phenomenal game. He's the first goalie since relocation to have 2 points in a game. The last time that even happened was Cade Whitmore back on March 30th, 1989. So this is the second goalie ever in franchise history with a 2-point game, and he's the first one since relocation. So he's the first ever Carolina Hurricane as a netminder to have 2 assists in a game. That's pretty phenomenal. And for the fact he holds the Rangers to a single goal that was scored 17 seconds of the game and shuts them out for the rest of it. And like I said, you look at his overall season record, 14-6-0 with a 243 goals against and a 903. You're talking about a guy who's a sub 250 goalie right now in the NHL. And that's the crazy thing to me, is when you encapsulate goalies overall and how you kind of look at them in terms of 10 games at the minimum of what they have been. You're talking about active goalies who've played in more than 10 games. Right now, when you look at the save percentages overall, Pyotr Kochetkov, yes, isn't probably he's not up there. He's a lot lower. And yes, he's 28th, but you're talking about a guy who's still playing some pretty decent hockey with a 903 save percentage. Of course, there's a lot of guys higher than him. But when you look at the goals against average for netminders who've played, more than 10 games, he has a pretty good overall goals against. I mean, he's 13th in the NHL right now. I mean, the guys who are leading right now is Connor Hellebuck at 207. But of course, it's Connor Hellebuck, who's 21-5-1. Anthony Stolarz for Toronto's at 215. Markstrom's at 220. Gustafson's 224. And Vezmelka is 229. And they're playing all different types of levels. But Pyotr Kochetkov is 13th in the NHL in goals against average. Save percentage-wise, yeah, it's not the greatest. But, I mean, you're talking about a guy who's still playing pretty decently with, right now, an inconsistent, group that's scoring in front of him. But when you look at wins for goalies, he's actually tied for 7th. He's tied for 6th with Aiden Hill, Philip Gustafson, and Kevin Lankinen. And that's in playing 21 games, and the other guys have played 22 and 23. So it's one of those things where, yes, he has given up some goals that you would wish he would have back, but he's been playing some great hockey overall. And I know, and this is the one thing that's it's interesting when the goalie's doing great, people praise him. But when he gives up 2 or 3 goals, it's okay, well, we need better goaltending. But it's not like he's given up 4 or 5 a game. Most of the time he's given up 3. There might be a weird one where he does give up 4, but other than that, he's given up maybe 2 or 3. And you look at his save percentage, his save percentage is under 900, but it's like, if you're only facing 23 shots a game and you give up 2 or 3 goals, yeah, your save percentage probably doesn't look that good. So that's why you have to look at, okay, what's the shot total? What's the time on ice? What's all these other factors? So it's like the save percentage is just a weird stat to look at when you have to add context. It's like a plus minus for a defenseman. What's his time on ice? What's his shift totals? So, well, yes, you do need some better saves overall from the goalies, but you can't ask them to do everything. Like, you're not going to see a goalie get multiple assists to be able to help their team out. They're not going to see them scoring goals. Goalies have off games. Everyone does. Even the greatest goalies in the NHL right now are having some bad games. And the thing too is like, who are you going to go and get in a trade? Teams, the best teams in the league right now are not giving up their number one goalies. And if you have to make a trade, what are you willing to give up? And the thing, too, is Frederick Anderson is supposed to be back like late February, early March. What do you do with that guy that you just traded for? Do you trade him? Do you send him down? Do you just move Frederick Anderson? Do you play with 3 goalies? Now you have to lose a roster spot for a forward or an extra defenseman. And the thing is, cap space is the thing, too. So you can say we need better goaltending, all that people want, but there's a lot of other factors that go into, okay, who? How much is he? How much are you willing to give up? And that's a thing that's so hard to like. You can't just expect a team to give up a goalie like that, especially if it's on a contender who needs that goalie. And even bad teams with goalies, some of them are just not good. And I know people are like, oh, let's go get John Gibson. He's okay, but his contract is not great. He's got 2 more years, and he's not been proven enough because, yes, he's on a bad Anaheim Ducks team, but is he really proven them to go give up assets and then go figure out his contract when Anderson's back? Yes, I know the Hurricanes were in for Mackenzie Blackwood, but I mean, they're always asking about someone. You know, they've been asking about Anton Forsberg. Okay, well, what's the ask? He's going to be a UFA at the end of the season. While, yes, you can't rely on Spencer Martin all the time. You don't know how Dustin Tokarski is going to be. Yes, Pyotr Kochetkov has had some goals that you should want back, but you've got Frederick Anderson coming back. Pyotr Kochetkov is under 2 more years of contract. For me, the Hurricanes right now don't have a goalie problem. They have an inconsistent offense problem right now that's been stemming since the Utah game. And I've been saying this for many of episodes. It's a Jekyll and Hyde scoring system for the Canes right now. You can't place blame on some games on the goalies. Some goals, it's out of their control. And this is the thing where it's like, oh, we need to go get a goalie. Oh, we need to go get a goalie. You can't just go get a goalie. Just other contenders are going to give up their guys. And you don't want, and if there are some bad teams, do you want those goalies? What's the asking price? And, how is his contract going to fit in with the team? How is it going to fit in when Anderson's back? There's a lot of factors, and I think it's just and you're also looking at Kochetkov, who's got a sub 2.5 goals against, who's in the 900 save percentage. And like I said, his record this season for the Hurricanes, I think a lot of teams would love to have a 14-6-0 record with the goals against and the save percentage, and the fact he's already got a shutout finally, and he's got 3 assists in 21 starts. And this is coming off a year where he was 23-13-4 with a 233 and 9-11 and 4 shutouts. For me, it's a thing of you can't just go and try to be like, all right, our problem's goalies. It's not, though. The problem this year is not the goaltending. The problem as of late is just the scoring is inconsistent. The team in front of them is just inconsistently not getting ready, or they're ready, but you're having to either have to fight back or they let off. And there's defensive breakdowns. And for me, Pyotr Kochetkov has been playing some great hockey. And you know what? And after a great game he has, we have to hear from him. You have to hear from him after a performance like that. So we're just going to jump into it right now. We are going to listen to the Pyotr Kochetkov post-game press conference right now.
I'm happy and just like,
How'd you feel today? It looked like you were moving well. I mean, how'd you feel about your game today?
First period, a little bit tough start. Mm-hmm. First shot, first goal. And after, I think so we have a couple good block shots and couple saves, and I come back. And second period, I think so no chance for Rangers. We control the game, control puck. It's a lots of shots. And last period, just good PK and teamwork.
What changed for your team after the start? They score in the first. They kept coming a little bit. Then what changed?
I think so. We just play play our game. We just need to play our game. It's okay. It's bad start. But sometimes it's bullshit. It's, we can come back. I'm happy we win today.
You ever have 2 assists in a game?
Sorry?
Ever have 2 assists in a game?
I think so. It's my first
time
yeah.
ever?
I think so. Yeah. I don't remember it's 2 assists.
Were you looking at the open net?
I just think about this just 2 seconds and park a little bit bad. I think so. Okay, no one to risk.
Talk about the penalty killing tonight. Just
Penalty. I think so. We always play good on penalty kill. Today, I think it's a little bit special. It's because Rangers, for me, is top 3 team and who power play. It's the penalty today very good.
There was the one shot they got on their power play. It was Riley Smith on the other side. In the third period, you came across. Did you know he was there? Were you just talk me through that? What your read was there?
Say me about Riley Smith. I don't remember the shot.
You don't remember it?
Yeah, I just play. I don't remember.
Fair enough.
what goes through your mind when you give up a goal early like that, so early?
I just think about need focus for next shot.
You put it behind you pretty quickly. You have to, I guess.
It's hard question. Sometimes I always think same. Just sometimes it works, sometimes no work. Just life.
Thank you to Pyotr Kochetkov and the Hurricanes for that. And you hear from him too. It's like for one of those things where it's yes, you give up an early goal, kind of just erase it from memory and go on, and doesn't even remember extra particular shots. And they ask him about Riley Smith and being on the back door. And that's one of the things with Pyotr is the fact that he just, doesn't remember shot by shot, just worries about his game and talks about the PK too of how great they played. So it's good to see the fact that, the penalty kill unit, which is always good for the Hurricanes, steps up when they need to, goes perfect for a 100% on the night, makes his job definitely a lot easier for sure. And, it's good to see the mentality of Pyotr Kochetkov. While he holds himself to a higher standard, he doesn't let an early goal like that get to him. Like maybe earlier in his career, a couple seasons ago, you might, probably have gotten to him. Even last year have gotten to him as well. But you kind of more of a maturity level of where he's at now. And the fact that, in his, what we're looking at probably a third full season from him, yeah, you give up an early goal 17 seconds in, and he kind of is like, all right, well, it happens. That's life. Wipe it from memory and continue. And that's what he did. And that's what you love to see from a guy like that, where he's able to, you give up one early, but you find a way to just continue on and do your thing. So you love to see that. Great game from Pyotr Kochetkov. First ever 2 assists in a game ever in his career. Comes up huge when the Hurricanes need it and makes some big saves to, get them a 3-1 win, get them their 21st of the season. Now you're 21-11-1. And now it's off to Nashville for Monday night to see how the team does and hopefully go for, win the back-to-back. So it'll be very interesting. And speaking of the Predators game, we're going to preview that here in a second. So stick around as we'll do that right now on a Monday edition of Locked On Hurricanes. The NFL playoffs are almost here, but it's not too late to get it on the regular season action with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Because right now, new customers can finish the season strong with $250 in bonus bets if you place your first $5 bet wins. FanDuel has so many ways you can pick up a W. I love betting on which players will score a touchdown and how many points each team will score. It is definitely thrilling. So visit FanDuel.com to join today. That's FanDuel.com for your chance at $250 in bonus bets. Make every moment more with FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL. Welcome back to segment 3 of Locked On Hurricanes, your team every day. Like I said, we're going to be previewing the game against the Nashville Predators on Monday night. It is going to be an 8 p.m. Eastern time start since the game is going to be in Nashville, and it's going to be at 7 o'clock there in the Central Time Zone. It'll be on FanDuel Sports South. This is the first of 2 meetings between these 2 teams this year. And their next game will be back in Carolina at 7:30 Eastern on March 25th. Now, looking at the players over the last 5 games, Sebastian Aho, it does lead the team in points with 5, also has 3 goals, with Jordan still having 4 assists. For the Predators in points, Philip Forsberg has 7, and of course, all of them have been assists. And then in terms of goals, Jonathan Marchessault has 3. Now, looking at the team stats overall, with the Nashville Predators being at 10-17-7, the worst record in the NHL. They are 24th on the power play at 17.3, but their penalty kill is pretty dang good, though, 87.3. So they do find a way to make something work for them. 10th on faceoffs at 52%. They are 32nd in goals for at 2.32, and they're also 18th in goals allowed at 3.09. So they are a really low-scoring team for the most part, barely not even getting 2.3. For the Hurricanes, 6th on the power play at 26.4%, penalty kill 3rd at 86.1, 5th in faceoffs at 52.5, 5th in goals for at 3.52, which is not far from where they were actually at 4, and then goals allowed 2.73. So, yeah, while the Hurricanes having a 21-11-1 record, it's good to say that, yeah, when you're top 10 and laying in the, not giving a lot of goals, you'll definitely take that for sure. In the last 10 games, your Hurricanes are 5-5 coming off the win against the Rangers. They did lose to Washington, but they did have the back-to-back wins against Columbus and the New York Islanders. The Predators did meet the LA Kings in overtime, so they got their 10th win of the season. But that's after coming with an OT loss to the Pittsburgh Penguins. And in the middle of that, they had a win against the New York Rangers, but they are 3-5-2 in their last 10 that did see a 5-game losing streak before beating Dallas. Overall, like I said, this is a game where you should pretty much take care of business, but, Nashville does have 10 wins for a reason. Anyone can beat anyone, but it is also back-to-back, just after, playing the Rangers, Sunday afternoon, they have to fly to Nashville. But like I said, it's a game where you should be able to take care of business and do your job. It's just, kind of getting into the game early, getting the crowd out of it, and basically just play your game and keep your foot on the gas the entire time. Marty Necas, 44 points in 33 games, 14 goals, 30 assists. Sebastian Aho, 35 points in 33 games, still well above a point per game. Andrei Svechnikov, 26 points. Seth Jarvis, 20 and 26. Jordan Marnick still at a plus 11, 8 goals, 8 assists for 16 points. Look at the defense for your Carolina Hurricanes. Shane Gostisbehere, 27 points in 33 games. Did get an assist in the Rangers game. He's up to 21 on the season, while still sporting a -6, which is still crazy to think about, but it is what it is. Dmitry Orlov got an assist as well, up to 16 points, 13 assists with a plus 18. His line partner, Jalen Chappell, at a plus 15. So they're at a plus 33 combined. You love to see that for that defensive pairing. Of course, we just saw Pyotr Kochetkov, 14-6-0 with a 903 and a 243 goals against. Don't be surprised if we see Dusty Tokarski in this game against the Nashville Predators, of course. Remember his game where he beat the Columbus Blue Jackets for the lone goal after making 27 saves in that performance. Got a 1-0 record with a .964 save percentage and a 1 goal allowed. So don't be surprised if we see him in the game. Now for Nashville, this is where it's going to get interesting because they do have Justus Annunen, who they did get from the Colorado Avalanche. He's 8-5 with a 283 goals against and an 893 save percentage. But on the flip side, you do have Yarcy Saros. While his record isn't great at 7-14-6, his goals against is a 272 and it has a 903 save percentage with 3 shutouts. So while his record isn't great, his individual stats aren't terrible. Like you're still talking about a 900 save percentage goalie with a sub 2.8 goals against and 3 shutouts. Don't be surprised if he might be that guy in the net for the Predators. One of the main ones to watch out for, of course, is Philip Forsberg. 26 points in 34 games, 9 goals. Jonathan Marchessault, 21 points, 10 of them being goals, -7. Ryan O'Reilly's a -13. Stamkos is a -12. Gustav Nyquist is a -14. So a lot of the big guys, very big minuses as well. Colton Sissons even has a -16, and McCarron is a -13. Looking at the defense, Roman Josi does have 24 points in 30 games, but he's a -21. The biggest minus differential for the Nashville Predators. And you're talking their main guy on the defense side of things. Brady Shea, 11 points, -4. Luke Shen, -7. Not really great when you're talking about guys who are basically leaving their goalies out to dry. And, when you're Roman Josi with 24 points, which are -21, that is a big indicator of things that are not going in your direction. So for the Hurricanes, basic keys of the game, pretty simple. Get up on the Nashville Predators early, put this game away quick. Don't play down to their level. Don't let them stay into this game. Basically have a better start. Don't let the goal in the first 30 seconds. Score early, get up at least 2 or 3 goals. Basically get the crowd out of it, get them out of it, and basically just get out of Nashville with a win before you go into your Christmas break, because you got New Jersey coming up on Friday and Saturday for a home-and-home back-to-back for more Metro points on the line. So basically just take care of business, play 60 minutes of Hurricanes hockey, get Nashville and their fans out of it early, and just do what you need to do to secure the points. Yes, I know it's the second half of a back-to-back, but this is a game where you should win. Like I said, no games are easy in the NHL anymore, but this is one where you should take care of business. No questions asked, get it done. So it'll be very interesting how the Hurricanes play against the Nashville Predators, but definitely, as always, it's fun to watch Hurricanes hockey, and especially how it's going to be when coming off a win against a division rival like the New York Rangers. So guys, that will wrap up the Monday episode of Locked On Hurricanes. Thank you for making this your first listen of the day. For your second listen, well, go check out Locked On Fantasy Hockey. Become a hockey fantasy expert, and you get the edge over your league mates with daily tips from Steal and Flip. Find Locked On Fantasy Hockey on YouTube or where you listen to podcasts. If you want to keep up with me, I'm at One True Zach on X. The podcast is LO_Hurricanes. I'm also on Blue Sky at the Zach Martin. Check me out over there. I do have a link tree in both my bios where you can check out my articles at the Hockey Writers, or just go to thehockeywriters.com, search for Zach Martin, which is my author page. You'll find all my articles there. You want to check out my other podcasts, the Searchcast, just do that on all podcast platforms and on YouTube. For this show, Spotify, Apple, Google, Locked On Hurricanes. Subscribe, follow, leave a 5-star rating and review, because if you do, I might just read on the podcast. For YouTube, subscribe, hit the bell notification, make sure you don't miss an episode, leave a thumbs up button, let me know if you like the episode as well. And make sure to share with our other Caniacs to become everydayers just like you. But I hope everyone enjoyed this Monday edition of Locked On Hurricanes. Hope everyone enjoys their Monday. Hope everyone enjoys watching the game against the Nashville Predators at 8 o'clock Eastern tonight on FanDuel Sports South. But I hope everyone has a great day. And until next time, as always, let's go Canes.